Alright, welcome to my episode. Today, Sony has announced the A7 IV. Long waited because the A7 IV is a bit long in the tooth, right? So, well, the response from me, in essence, it's done enough compared to the A7 IV. However, it doesn't really put Sony ahead of the competition. Let me break it down from a Canon user's perspective. Because the R6 III announced last month is a comprehensive upgrade compared to the R6 Mark II. The video specs is a leap forward. Canon embraced the open gate. Canon embraced the internal RAW in a hybrid mid-range full frame model, which is the first, right? So if you look at the C50, well, it doesn't really have much advantage in terms of video spec over this R6 Mark III. So the cinema line retails for more price, has a fan compared to the sort of hybrid line, has an IBIS with almost the same video spec, 7K RAW, open gate, 7K open gate with log, compressed. I don't think from a Canon user perspective, A7 V has anything over it, making me want to jump ship. Well, jump ship it's a big subject. I don't think a lot of people are jumping ship anyway, other than the YouTubers and the influencers who test the gear for a living and getting the freebies for a living. For normal people, you usually stick with one system unless the system has a severe limit or really piss you off on something. Normal people wouldn't just sell all the gears and change ship for nothing. That's just my opinion and my experience with people around me. So the A7 V obviously got the partially stacked sensor. It's got faster electronics shutter, I think 30 FPS, which is better than the 10 FPS before, but still slower than even R6 Mark II's 40 FPS. Right, the readout probably gonna be a lot faster, well, a little bit faster than the R6 Mark III, I guess, but it'll be in the same ballpark. My point is, if the two camera brands have the mid-range competition in the same ballpark, there is not a strong reason for normal people like you and me to jump ship, isn't it? It just, if you're a Canon shooter, just happily shoot Canon. If you're a Sony shooter, just shoot Sony. They're all very capable. They both are very, very capable. But if you're talking about, A7 Mark V makes Sony ahead of the competition because the AI this, AI that, the 4-axis, flip screen or dual USB ports, I think it's over-extracted. It's just, it has pros and cons, and it's a good camera, but it doesn't really make a Canon user feel, oh my gosh, I wish Canon had that. It's like Nikon has that 4-inch screen and the 32-bit audio flow, right? So it's good, but will you jump ship just because of those two features? Probably not. So my quick response is A7 V is a big leap forward compared to the A7 IV. But not enough to put Sony significantly ahead of the competition, making other system users to jump ship. You think that's all? Wait, here's a con. I just realized the A7 V, at least in Australia, the retail price is $100 more in most major retailers, $100 more, not compared to the R6 Mark III, compared to A7 R5. That I have a problem with, because that effectively means that the R6 Mark III are more expensive than the R5 Mark II. That's unimaginable. Canon does the tiers really clearly. Mid-tier, high-end, super professional, they all in different price bracket. So the even R5, the first generation R5, I believe still retail for more than the R6 Mark III. And now Sony on the announcement day, the A7 IV is more than A7 R5. I know A7 R5 is almost 2 years old and all that, but A7 R5 is a tier above. It's more expensive. Well, I don't know about Sony users, but for me, I would never choose A7 V over A7 R5, for the same price. There's no way. There's just no way. If you look at A7 3 days and A7 R3, A7 R3 was like a good $800, $1,000 more expensive. If you look at the A7 4 and A7 R4, R5, they're always over $1,000 more expensive. And now you look at A7 V try to retail more than A7 R5. That I have a problem with. And at least in Australia, the first announcement price is $400 or $500 over the R6 Mark III. It's apples and oranges, but still more expensive is more expensive. That's my rant on the price. And you can have the A7 IV for 2,600 Australian dollar right now at most of major retailers, because we are in the Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and all this December shopping season. It's readily available, $2,600 brand new. And the A7 V is $4,698. That's almost $2,000 more. If you ask me, $2,500 and $4,500 for A7 IV to A7 V, I think for most of Steel's users, just go with A7 IV. You save your $2,000, buy a big lens, buy a good lens, buy your dream lens. $2,000 is a lot of money, Australian dollar, not US dollar, but still, why would you spend $2,000 more if you're mostly shooting stills? Don't believe all this AI, that. It will help a little bit, but it's not game changing. Don't believe all the reviewers tell you the game changing. I hate this word. Here is a rant about pricing, and Sony abandoned the old model. You put A7 for such a low price, that will make the second-hand A7 IV users suffer even more. So if they want to upgrade, they will financially lose more money, because Canon still retail the R6 Mark II, and it's a good $500-600 cheaper. You can get it on the street, maybe $700 to $1,000 cheaper, but not $2,000 cheaper. At $2,500, adding another $2,000, that's crazy. So if a brand new A7 IV sell for $2,600, what do you think about secondhand? At most, it will be $2,000 or maybe even less. So you're looking at $1,800, $1,900. Realistically, you sell your secondhand A7 IV to upgrade to A7 V for $4,600. That's almost $2,600-700 extra. Well, in Canon's word, they look after the existing user a little bit better. Thank you for listening to my rant. Here is the end of the video. See you next episode.